I think what has the biggest impact for students is including content that is reflective of their experience. I'm going to tell a story. It's important, I think, to think about the experiences that First Nations, Inuit, and Métis students have in our schools. And this is a story about a student who was sitting in class, and it was the beginning of the year. Her classmates knew that she was First Nations, but they didn't know a lot about her. And there had been 4 or 5 days of rain, and the students really wanted to go outside for recess, but it was raining again. And one of the students turned to this First Nations student and said, "Oh, Vanessa, you're First Nations. Couldn't you do a rain dance to make it stop raining?" And Vanessa looked over at her teacher, who was standing close by, and heard the comment. But when Vanessa caught her teacher's eye, the teacher looked away. And Vanessa was left to deal with that question and the emotion that she felt by herself. And she just shrugged to her classmate and looked down. So the issue didn't get addressed. And that was a very painful experience for Vanessa, because there was so much that she wanted her classmate to understand about who she is, and what she knows and what she doesn't know, and how the history of the relationship between First Nations and non-First Nations people impacts her life and what she knows and doesn't know. So I think what would have made a difference for Vanessa in that moment is if the teacher, instead of looking away, had looked toward the students and said, "How do you feel? How does that question make you feel, Vanessa? Brenda, why did you ask that question? What do you want to know?" I don't think that we can change what we teach and how we teach overnight. I think there's a long process of learning that needs to happen. But I think the most important thing we can do for our students is not look away, but look toward the student, recognize their humanity, recognize what they've had access to learning and what they've not had access to, and be there and ask the follow-up questions. Listen to what our students tell us about what they know and don't know and what they want to know. And that's the most important thing we can do right now as educators, while we do the work of learning all that we don't know, so that we can change our teaching practices. To start with, we start by listening to our students.